Well, first of all, something that I find in this wine is a Tuscan character. Difficult to describe what it is, but for me it's something very familiar. The Sangiovese character obviously comes out. Sangiovese gives wine a certain grip. You can feel the tannin, a little bit also the acidity of the wine, which blends very well with the tannins and with the polyphenols. So the wine is a balanced wine, but in my opinion it's a wine, typical food wines. It goes very well with food. For Tignanello, what I find is that 2007 is still young. So it has to evolve in the bottle. I think this wine will need another 2 or 3 years before it's really open completely. And I think that the life of this wine could be another 20-25 years easily.
Now the Calvarino 2010 is really a young version, and who is familiar with this wine knows that is a kind of wine that has a potentially aging, but in a young version, the blend of Garganega and Trebbiano di Soave and Calvarino makes a typically blossom flowering aroma. So again, cherry, almond, a little bit of jasmine aromas that give a little bit sweeter note. In a young version like is 2010, we start to recognize a little bit of pommy stone character, a little bit minerality on the back of the flavor that will be much more evident during the aging of this wine. I recognize some pear aroma from Trebbiano di Soave, typically fruity character of this variety. And the characteristic of Calvarino, in particular in the tasting, is this finesse in the palate. I mean, the palate tastes really clean, dry, salty.
Nebbiolo variety in Lessona is really represents what is specific of the place. Cooler climate, so a lot of aromatics, namely raspberry, very typical raspberry. Very fragrant. Northern Piedmont is a cooler climate than Langhe, but as we are protected by the Alps, in winter time is very mild. So it has a very long growing season, which ends in aromatic, less power and structure than wine from the Langhe, but very soft tannins. And as the soil is from granite, very old decomposed granite, we get a minerality in the finish. So the acidity of a cooler area is perceived more as a very savory salinity, which gives length to the wine.
Well, Amarone, because it is made from these dried grapes, when you smell and immediately when you taste the wine, you have these aromas of resin that are the most important characteristic of Amarone. Then you have the aromas of cherries that come from the Corvina grapes, and you have this high alcohol content because of the drying process, but very well balanced with the structure of the wine, so the alcohol do not take over the fruitness of the wine. But the main characteristic is the resin, the aroma of resin that come from the dried fruit.